Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, May 11th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. Real quick, a couple of clarifications. First off, the price you see over here will be changing, and then the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, PLTR, talked about this in yesterday's video, and overall the chart continues to work its way higher. So I'm actually going to do a couple of these, or just delete these levels out as they serve their actually, what I'm going to do is adjust this level up, and the key question here becomes what direction is this being adjusted? And I'm going to go ahead and adjust this new area of resistance right up to that level at $10.25. And not to insult your intelligence, but you saw I adjusted that line upwards. And whenever lines need to be adjusted from a resistance side of things, and assuming you're bullish, that is a good sign. So yeah, higher highs is the name of the game, and that's exactly what happened here. I am still going to leave this level of support down here at 925 that I talked about previously, but I am going to add in this level right here of support because I'm kind of curious, can this one hold? And in the very near term, essentially is forming an ascending triangle pattern, which is, you know, a good pattern. Maybe some of you would disagree with that, and I'm not going to. I wouldn't put up a fight. But in some senses, you know, basically a little ascending triangle is formed. And, you know, what would make this chart look the best? Certainly if that level can hold strong. But if it doesn't, not the end of the world because you still do have that 925 mark down there. But yeah, as far as the ideal level that would make the chart look the most powerful, that would be staying above that line right there. But all in all, as long as the price keeps on putting those higher highs and higher lows, that's by far what matters most. Next, FFIE, nasty move today, and this is what we would call in the world of charts and trading a gap and trap, meaning the price closed right there on Tuesday, opened up right there, hence the gap up, and then after that just has completely rolled back over. So a brutal move, especially to the people that were buying up around there. Hopefully they had stop losses in, but let's map out some new levels because this it is a relatively popular stock within the world of penny stocks. So a lot of people watching it, and you never know when, you know, popular stocks that get beat down, there can be some worthwhile movements back upwards. So first key level to map out, at least in my opinion, going to be this area of support right here at 19 cents. Nothing fancy or complicated behind why I consider that a significant level. That's just simply where the bleeding finally stopped. I mean, think about it. The bleeding started up there and did not stop until all the way down there. Does that mean the price would, or the bleeding would stop again if the price comes back down? No guarantees, but it has happened before, so not irrational to think that that could be a bounce from that area. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as areas of resistance, if there is any sort of bounce, key level to watch, in my opinion, can be that purple line right there, 50 period moving average, right now valued at 23 cents. But yeah, if you were to, you know, force me into a corner and say summarize this one quickly, I would just simply say gap and trap. Next one, MVST, and this has got a nice little pattern on it. Mainly the breakout point. I think this level stands out to quite a few people. I realize the price did technically go above this area, but that didn't last very long. But you can see essentially quite a bit of area right there. Probably should have picked a different color for that. Not much better, but you get the idea. Right there at 215 is going to be the key level where you got to think a lot of people are watching, and when lots of people are watching the same level and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So while there are no guarantees, it's plausible to think that if the price can curl back upwards, get to that area, and then break up above it, that break in and of itself could very well create some additional buying pressure. So certainly keep an eye on that area right there. In terms of levels of support, if this thing does want to pull back any further, then an interesting level, essentially right where it's at right now, a little bit further down at $1.80. So keep an eye on those couple of dynamics. But like I said, in my opinion, I think the most interesting dynamic and the most, the dynamic that has most people curious and watching, hence putting it on a watch list, is going to be, can the price get back up to 215 and break it? Next one, STSS, and I like this because it's got a well-defined area after a pretty crazy pullback, but the end of the pullback is what is providing a lot of interest in this one. And the key breakout point right there at $1.33. And what I mean about the pretty crazy pullback is, think about it. At one point, the price was all the way up here, and then it started to fall and fall and fall and fall. And at that point, it became a very real question to say, wow, is this some sort of just basically pump and dump, gap and trap where this thing's going to crash downwards? And we got our answer. No, it did actually level out. And in leveling out, that's where we get our trend line from, and a support. You can see right there illustrates the fact that the price did finally start to go sideways with a slight uptrend to it. So let me change that to green for support. So now we have ourselves an interesting little pattern, and that's what brings up, the point for being on a watch list. Remember, let's think about the philosophy of a watch list: to find unique, to find interesting situations, and not rush out and randomly start buying stuff, but to watch it and see how it behaves. So what I find interesting about this is all the dynamics mentioned, and then we have the very, real question of, okay, can this thing come back up and make another move? Because it's already shown that this thing can move and move very quickly. Does that happen again? Your guess is as good as mine, but the core dynamic is, hey, if you like this price range, at least keep an eye on it by watching it on your watch list. Next one here, AMC. I'm going to be very quick about this one because nothing new really to report other than just kind of confirmation of levels that I talked about previously. But if you have watched past videos, then you know that the level that I talked about was that 200 period moving averager, pink line, and the power of charts. You can see price came down here. And to give credit where credit's due, held nicely, bounced, has since rolled back over, and as of right now, at least, the price so far so good has been holding above that pink line. So that'll be the big question mark that everybody's going to be asking, longs and shorts and everybody in between, is this 200 period moving average going to continue to hold? Current value of it right there at $5.43. So watch it from that dynamic of things. And as far as if the price starts to bounce, the level that I think will start to come into play here more is going to be that trend line right there. If the price can push through that resistance trend line, then the next key level will be that purple line up there. But one hurdle at a time. So let's first see if the price can clear that hurdle of that initial resistance trend line. Next one, HCDI. And first key level to watch on this is going to be essentially these previous lows here. A big, nice move up, but has completely rolled back over. So at this point, it's really a question of, do you like to play potential double bottoms? And if you do, then you're going to potentially get a double bottom scenario because, again, it's already hit bottom number one right there. And if it can come down here again, that's where the question becomes, will this be a double bottom where the price comes down there and then gets the bounce back upwards? Your guess is as good as mine. But the idea here is you have reason, you have logic to think that the price could bounce. And that's why risk management matters, because there's no guarantees it will bounce. But if it does bounce and you can be disciplined, then from a risk-reward scenario, you could be looking at a very beneficial situation. Because even if you get a moderate bounce relative to what was being risked, that could still be a really, really nice trade. Real quick, want to take a quick break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'll be offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen, you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to manage risk, to build consistency, then certainly get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, RIVN, and this is a little tricky to talk about because it's all about perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then from that perspective, the chart looks absolutely terrible. Because yes, there has been a huge pullback. But let's say the price actually pulls back even further. Not saying it will, but let's say it actually pulls back to that former area of support right there. So it comes on there and bounces around. Well, I mean, what would you still have? Well, you'd have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down here, which I realize are behind my face there. But from a big picture point of view, what do you still have? Well, you'd still have these lows, if you want to envision those as stair steps, making progress in the upwards direction. So yes, I'm well aware that if you're a day trader and you bought up there, you don't care about these stair steps. But that's why I'm trying to differentiate that I'm talking about things from a big picture point of view. So yes, today individually, rough day. But think about that word, today. As in one day. Looking at multiple days as we're doing here, you can see the trend is still upwards. So as long as the price continues to build those higher bases, that's what matters most. Next one, TSLA, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, but talked about this level right here at 170 and started off the day very, very nicely. Came up here, actually got rejected from those highs right here, rolled back down, broke back below that area, and then you can see as soon as it fell back below it right there, look what happened. Try to get above it again, rejected. Came back up, once again struggling with that 170 area. So while I'm not saying that 170 can't be broken, I'm just saying it makes sense why that level has all of a sudden started to be a problem point once again. So 170 will be that key near-term level of resistance in the near term. And then just from the overarching standpoint, next key level will be right up there at basically the 174 mark. But, one hurdle at a time. First got to work on that hurdle there at the 170 mark. In terms of areas of support, I'll turn this into a quick plug to get signed up for that class that I talked about. And for those of you that watched yesterday's video, you know that green line's been sitting there. You know that I did not just put this in here. If you don't believe me, I'm not offended. Just go back in the video archives and watch for yourself. But I mean, look at this. Price was up here, dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. Oh, what a coincidence. Right off of that green line. So I'm not patting myself on the back, but I am patting charts on the back. So definitely get signed up for that free class. But moral of the story there is that remains a key level of support moving forward right there at 166.50. Next one, MARA, and I like this because from a bigger picture point of view, I realize the chart's kind of hard to see, but very, very well-defined level. So bringing up that talking point once again of self-fulfilling prophecies. But I mean, check out that area right there. And let's just call it $10.70. So we have rejection 1, rejection 2, rejection 3, and then today, rejection 4. So you got to think that all sorts of people's eyeballs are watching that level. So as I've said, nothing is guaranteed, but is it plausible? Is it valid to think that if the price can get up there and push up through that level, that break in and of itself would cause a bunch of breakout players to come in? That is certainly a plausible outcome. So all eyes on 1070, and in my opinion, it's really as straightforward as that. That's what catches my eye. That's the unique, that's the interesting situation on this one, in which why I could say consider putting it on your watch, just because 1070 is such a well-defined level at this point. Next one, TQQQ, which is a ETF that measures the NASDAQ market. And NASDAQ market today had a pretty wild ride, and so did this one. But, as the dust has settled here, the price has broken above and stayed above 2850, which I've talked about quite a bit as that main area of resistance. So good to see that a breakout has officially occurred, which prompts the first update that when levels of resistance are broken and closes above, you want to see them act as support moving forward. So yes, moving forward, ideally speaking, what would make the chart look the strongest if the price can stay up there above 2850. In terms of levels of resistance, I'm just going to not get fancy here and just put in a little basic trend line right there. Got a slight upward slope to it. So let's see how the price interacts with this trend line moving forward. I think it'll be an interesting dynamic here to keep an eye on. But all things considered, good solid day, has broken above 2850, has maintained above it. So now it becomes a very valid question of, is this breakout here just the start of a multi-day breakout that's going to get even more continuation? The next few days, I think, are going to be very revealing. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, then definitely get signed up for the free class. It'll be, like I said, Thursday, May 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do 2 things for me. Hit the like button and leave a comment. Tell me what you traded today. Tell me what you're watching tomorrow. Those 2 things help out these videos, help out the channel. And as long as I know people are enjoying and helping out, then I'll continue to put the required time and effort to get this content out to you. So again, get signed up for that free training. Hit that like button, leave a comment down below.